Hey, how are you? Welcome back to Research Reality for another album review, or should I say an EP review, a live EP review from Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. So there's definitely a lot happening in the music world, especially as it pertains to Donald Trump. First, we have Trump going after Taylor Swift yet again, saying that she is no longer hot anymore. Then we also have Neil Young, who just put out his own song talking about Trump and the current state of affairs. We might cover that song in another video, remains to be seen. Which brings us to Bruce Springsteen, who made a number of remarks about Trump as he toured in the UK, and that did not go over very well. And after Bruce Springsteen dared to criticize the president while overseas, Trump took to Truth Social, basically threatening him, saying that we will see how things go when you try to re-enter the United States. It's just like that famous quote, "I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it, unless it insults the king." Now even Eddie Vedder is jumping on this, so now it's just like a whole thing. And I think Trump even made another post depicting him hitting a golf ball at Bruce Springsteen. Like, the level of pettiness is just unreal. And potentially as a response to all of this drama, Bruce Springsteen went on to release this new EP, this live EP, titled Land of Hope and Dreams, and we are going to review it. And as always guys, like and subscribe if you like the vibe. Check out the Patreon account for exclusive videos if you would like to support the channel further. And as always, let me know what other bands you would like to see me review next. This wall is entirely comprised of protest music, so let me know what other kind of protest music you guys want to see, and we'll take it from there. Cool, thanks, bye. Also leave a comment down below about what you think of these songs, this EP, and just all of this music drama in general. Definitely leave a comment down below. So the intro to this EP is just Bruce addressing the crowd. Again, it's a live recording, and he basically calls upon the righteous powers of art, music, and rock and roll. You know, art, music, and rock and roll in these dangerous times. Because of course music is a very powerful force. I think you just have to recognize one album on the wall and then bam, we automatically have something in common. Plus, because this whole wall is completely comprised of protest music, it's all interconnected, more or less saying the same thing. And each artist on this wall has paid some kind of contribution to this culture of resistance that I keep talking about. That's what I call this wall, is our culture of resistance. And Bruce Springsteen, who is on the wall right there, just slightly off camera, has also paid contributions to that culture of resistance, which we are talking about now. Anyways, wall rant over? Yes. So he starts off talking about the power of art, music, and rock and roll, a message that I fully back up myself, but then he also goes on to call out Donald Trump for his corruption, his incompetence, and authoritarianism, and he calls on people to raise up their voice. Like this! Not really. But for real, let's do it. And the intro leads us to the title track of the EP, Land of Hope and Dreams, which is all about a couple that packs up their bags. They don't have a whole lot of belongings to begin with, and they hop on a train in search of a new, better life to the land of hope and dreams, aka America. And in hopes of finding a better life, everyone is welcome on this train. The saints and the sinners, the losers and the winners, the gamblers, that's me. It's a place where dreams will not be thwarted, faith will be rewarded. This train, hear the steel wheels singing. This train, bales of freedom ringing. I would like to ring this bell. So this song's looking at it from the traditional promise of America, where it's the land of the free, home of the brave, the melting pot of the world, where people can come from different backgrounds, nations, religions, and become a US citizen and become free. Which, as we know, there's definitely a lot of criticism to be had, but generally speaking, that is the overarching narrative. So the third song on this EP, Long Walk Home, there's really not a lot that pertains to the theme that we're going for here, but towards the end, there is a line where it's describing walking through this town, how it's a great place to live, the people are great, and the narrator's father says, that flag flying over the courthouse means certain things are set in stone. Who we are, what we'll do and what we won't. Which I take as a pretty significant line, considering that the courts have proven themselves to be sort of the last line of defense against this administration. Next, we have another intro for the song My City in Ruins. Bruce goes on to say that there's a lot of dangerous shit happening in America, that they are prosecuting people for using their free speech, for voicing their dissent. This is happening now. The richest men in the world are taking satisfaction in condemning the poorest children of the world to sickness and death. This is happening now. And they're taking sadistic pleasure by inflicting pain on others, rolling back civil rights legislation, abandoning our allies, cozying up with dictators instead of those struggling for their freedom, and removing people without due process, all of which is happening now. Our representatives have failed us. Let's jam! So there's a lot to unpack there. Obviously, he's talking about the students who are protesting, who are voicing their dissent, or even just all the protests in general, voicing their dissent. You have Elon Musk, who's cutting all of these aid programs, which is essentially cutting off food aid to children, thanks to the cuts to USAID, which even USAID, it does do some shady shit. I'm not discounting that. Shoe on Head actually put out a really good video about all the bad shit involved on that topic. I'll try to link that down below. But I think it is undeniable based on reporting that it's also halting a shit ton of food shipments that are being sent to poor countries as a way of subsidizing their diet from, not having anything at all. And of course, Trump and the president of El Salvador just laughing in the Oval Office about the deportation of Kilmar Garcia, which we already talked about in a previous video. The alarm bells are ringing, but do you hear them? Also check that video out if you so choose. So there's all of this going on. Bruce is just speaking out on it. And now it's time to jam! So for the next song, My City in Ruins, it describes just that, a desolate city, men are standing on every corner, the windows are all boarded up, but we will rise up, the song says. So that one is also a little light on the theme, but the next song, Chimes of Freedom, which is also a Bob Dylan cover, has a bit more to it. And this song is pretty poetic as well, just talking about the bells ringing, this massive storm moving in with the thunder and lightning, along with just many witty lines throughout. The song goes, flashing for the warriors whose strength is not to fight, for the refugees of the unarmed road of flight. For every underdog soldier in the night, we gaze upon the chimes of freedom flashing. It tolls for the rebel, the luckless, that's me again, the abandoned and forsaken, tolling for the outcast who is constantly burning at the stake, striking for the gentle, the kind, the guardians and protectors of the mind, and another one for each unharmful, gentle soul misplaced in a jail cell. So similar to the train on the title track, the chimes of freedom ring for all of us. They belong to all of us, unless you criticize the president. Then you might get your visa confiscated. I guess we'll see. Anyways, guys, that concludes the review of this live EP, Land of Hope and Dreams. Let me know what you thought of these songs, what you think of this music drama that is unfolding. Leave a comment down below about what you would like to see me review next from this wall of protest music. Overall, I would say that Chimes of Freedom is probably the strongest song from this EP, even though it's a Bob Dylan song, but still, if I had to recommend specifically a Bruce Springsteen song, it would be the title track, Land of Hope and Dreams. And as always, guys, like and subscribe if you like the vibe, or check out the Patreon account for exclusive videos. But alright guys, that's all I have for now. Stay well, stay safe, stay informed, and we will see you on the next video. Later.